Good evening, everybody. Much better. Sorry, I'm cooking. But good evening, and I hope everyone's doing well. So, while I'm sitting here dealing with my cooking, I'm going to mention now about Prince Harry. Because it seems like every little woke tard under the sun is now trying to persecute Elon Musk. He has decided to go out of his way to attack Elon Musk. But are we really surprised at this point? Prince Harry, who has sold his dignity, his principles, and the very idea that he belongs to the royal family, just for the sakes of being with Meghan Markle, who basically makes him her bitch, who basically goes out of his way to libelously slander people when he knows nothing about the situation, because he's come out and he's basically blaming X for the riots that occurred across the country. Southport, Plymouth, Stoke-on-Trent, Downing Street, Birmingham, Liverpool, etc., etc., to name a few. He went out of his way to say, now that Twitter has stoked the flames of this. No, the only person who stoked these fucking riots is Kier the traitor Starmer. Kier the traitor Starmer is the only person who is unilaterally responsible for stoking the flames. He is actively going after ordinary patriots and concerned parents who merely care about their children and want them to have a decent future, and not, oh, I don't know, get stabbed in the face? And even I don't want to be stabbed in the face. It's a beautiful face. And I can't imagine how beautiful the children were who died, God rest their fucking souls. But here's the NPC that likes to think of himself as relevant, but is about as relevant as yesterday's bog roll. He has no credibility, he has no influence, and he has absolutely no standards as far as what makes a decent human being is concerned. He is one of those sorts of people that will jump onto any bandwagon for any clout that he can get his dirty, disgusting little hands on after he continuously abused the royal family. He is a man who, frankly, if he was on fire, if the man was on fire, I would be struggling to make a decision as far as, do I piss on him to put him out, or do I toast a marshmallow over him, quite frankly? Because the way I look at it is, this man could not be further from the truth if he tried. Now, let's get this thing turned... Actually, let's turn it down just a little bit. But, bolognese, by the way. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that Prince Harry is a man who has no convictions of his own. He is not like, what's his name, Prince William, who served in the army. He is not like Prince Charles, who actually has some credibility. Or sorry, King Charles, who has at least some shred of credibility. Harry is a non-name. Like, I could probably go up into the street, and if I were to ask ordinary indigenous Brits, who is Prince Harry? I'd probably get one of two responses. I'd either get, who the fuck is Prince Harry? Or, oh yeah, Harry, that little twat, basically. The only people who are responsible for stoking the flames of riots and potential insurrection are the establishment of the Labour Party themselves. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. They won't admit that the traitors in the Labour Party and the houses of treachery, I mean Parliament, or maybe I was right first time, are the ones responsible for causing a lot of these riots, or at absolute bare minimum, inciting the hatred that is going across our streets. And as I've always said before, and I will say until I'm blue in the fucking face, although it's more likely red at this point considering the heat in this room, but I will say it until I'm blue in the face, that we haven't caused this. We aren't the ones causing the revolutions. We're not the ones causing the riots. We're not the ones potentially causing people to start thinking about how do we overthrow the government. That would be the government themselves and, of course, our two-tier police. But, of course, we're in a situation where Kier the traitor Starmer has gone full iron gloves. Kier the traitor Stalin Starmer Kim Jong Starmer at this point. Where basically, if you even think of negatively speaking about the government, if you even think about negatively destroying the credibility of our establishment, they'll come for you. They can potentially come for you just because you're speaking negatively about the government. I mentioned about the Online Harms Act. I mentioned the fact that these fuckers will do anything they can to stitch you up. I mean, right now we have a situation where a woman is in jail for 15 months for telling people to blow up the Bell End churches of the religion of peace. And I think you can probably draw a quick conclusion as to what word I really mean. Thank you, Angry Bootneck, for that suggestion. Anyway, this is what it's come down to. I accept, and let me be absolutely clear, I don't condone the destruction of any holistic structure. However, I completely understand that woman's frustration. I completely understand why she's reached the stage where she's like, blow up the Bell End churches. That's what it boils down to. I understand her situation completely. And I think a lot of people would probably sympathise if they were legally allowed to. But of course, since it's the religion of peace, we all know where that shit would go if we were given half a chance. Oof. God, all this fucking steam. Anyway, they will not dare admit that Islam has a very significant problem with Western society. They will not admit that illegal immigrants are causing a lot of the problems in our society. Even if you could draw the conclusion that a lot of these people are potentially welcome here legally, a lot of the people that do come over end up committing a lot of the crimes we see. We see Islam and illegal immigrants destroying our society, destroying our community, destroying our beliefs, destroying our economy, turning our NHS into an IHS, International Health Service. And we have people who are so ungrateful for being given benefits when our veterans would probably kill again just to get that. We have homeless on the streets. We have over 300,000 people homeless on our streets who are of true British descent. Yet all of our houses, all of our resources are being thrown to these illegals that a lot of them have no legal or human right to be here. That is something, of course, the mainstream media do not want to tell you about. Why is my plate not bigger? Because I have standards. Fucking sue me. Anyway, they want to throw all these resources over to people who don't even respect us, who don't even care for us, who don't even want to follow the rule of law. How does that work? I dare someone to have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, because I've got a banging set of tits, let me tell you, but I digress. I dare someone to make sense of all this. Make it make sense how we can, as a country, prioritise foreign people over our own. Please explain that to me. Make it make sense. Of course people won't. You know why? Because there is no logical argument against putting your own people first. Other than what is basically going to be the crux of this anyway, which is unless we are already capable of looking after ourselves, then we could probably look after other people. But the way I slice it is we're not even able to stand on our own 2 fucking feet. Why should we be helping others? 2 minutes of shamelessly licking the pan later. Anyway, I want someone to try and tell me in a legitimate manner how you can even remotely justify looking after other people when we can't even look after ourselves. And as I said, and as sure as I have a hole in my bloody arse, you will never have a decent enough argument to say, look after foreigners before ourselves. I'm sure Kier the traitor Starmer will find a way, though. He'll try, but like the rest of the establishment, he will fall, he will fail, and he will fall spectacularly on his face. Now, have a look at that. I feel like I'm turning into Gordon Ramsay now. Let's clean this first. This is the first time I'm actually doing this shit, let me tell you. On thing, by the way. See if I can actually get some of it. Oh. Oh, that bolognese is fucking delicious, let me tell you. I'd be happy to serve that to anyone that comes over to my fucking house. Oh, absolutely wonderful. Right, let's get away from the food though. And let's bring this back to politics, because in all seriousness, as much as I can sit here and have a laugh, Kier the traitor Starmer is slowly but surely destroying the country. He is slowly but surely eroding the world's trust in Britain. I mean, how sad is it that the Argentinians, Germans, and I think the Italians as well, people we have fought against in wars, are now uniting with the British people, rejecting wokery, and we have outspoken MPs who are saying the UK is becoming a dictatorship. Or maybe I was right first time again. But they can see firsthand that this country is becoming a dictatorship, where Kier the traitor Starmer will stop at nothing to silence free speech, to silence political opposition. Bear in mind, they've literally just banned Britain First from entering Liverpool. If that is not the unequivocal definition of fascism right there, then I don't know what is. But Kier the traitor Starmer had better be very careful with where he goes with this. The fact, as well, that a man has been sentenced to 18 months in prison for chanting, "Who the fuck is Allah?" You could argue maybe it's a bit distasteful. You could argue there's no need for it. But at the end of the day, those are just words. And by sending him to jail for 18 months, we're setting a very dark precedent. Bearing in mind there's someone right now who is literally going to be out after 6 months in prison for murdering someone. And yet a woman who's told people to blow up the Bell End churches is being given 15 months. A man who shouted and chanted, "Who the fuck is Allah?" is getting 18 months. I don't think Kier the traitor Starmer understands how serious a precedent that is. Because if you set a precedent where you can get more time in jail for saying things on the internet or accidentally saying misinformation without meaning to, that you're going to get sent to prison for longer than someone murdering people? Well, all I can say is, God help us all. Because at that point, it is going to stop nobody whatsoever from going out on the streets and taking lives, knowing that they'll get less time than people who say mean things.